Relocation of Marine Corps Air Station Futenma. Over the last 5 decades, there have been various plans for the relocation of Marine Corps Air Station Futenma, United States Marine Corps base located within the urban area of Ginowan City, Pop. 93,661 in Okinawa, Japan. Local opposition within Okinawa regarding the facility has so far hindered efforts to begin construction. As of August 2015, the Japanese government had agreed to halt construction activities temporarily while talks with Okinawan officials continued. Still, U.S. sources insisted nothing about their approach had changed. In October 2015, despite strong opposition in Okinawa, the Japanese central government began work to build the base in the Henoko Bay in Nago. The issue has been taken to court by both parties in November 2015 and December 2015. After a tentative court-mediated settlement in March 2016, the national government sued Okinawa Governor Takeshi Onaga in July and obtained a high court ruling in September determining that it was illegal for Onaga to revoke his predecessor's permission for landfill work at the new site. The Supreme Court of Japan indicated in December 2016 that it would let this judgment stand, opening a door for the relocation work to proceed. General controversy. Okinawa Prefecture constitutes 0.6% of Japan's land surface, yet as of 2006, 75% of all US bases were located on Okinawa, and U.S. military bases occupied 18% of the main island. There is local opposition in Okinawa to the construction of a new base, more than 76% of the population having expressed their opposition to a relocation in Henoko. History. Henoko Bay Plan secretly formulated in 1960s. Declassified reports indicate the plan to build new runways at Henoko Bay was secretly formulated in the 1960s during the U.S. military occupation and administration of the islands. Building an expanded base at Henoko has been called the only solution to resolving the issues at Futenma. The U.S. military had originally proposed constructing an offshore landfill facility with two 3,000-meter runways, a large military port, and an integrated ammunition bunker capable of storing nuclear weapons. The newly obtained 40-page document contains a memorandum approving the plan sent by Earl Wheeler, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, to Defense Secretary Robert McNamara on July 20, 1967, before the reversion of Okinawa to Japan from U.S. control. A separate 260-page report revealed the master plan for U.S. Navy facilities of the base expansion that was submitted by an American company under contract to the Navy in 1966. The report states that the U.S. government should continue to emphasize to the government of Japan that Japan's security is in large part dependent on the maintenance of a substantial U.S. military posture. The base expansion plan was abandoned for a few reasons. One was local opposition and criticism over the seizure of civilian-owned land. Also, as the Vietnam War was ending, the U.S. drawdown in forces reduced the need for the base and constrained budgetary resources. 1996–1997. In December 1996, as part of the Defense Policy Review Initiative (DPRI), the Japanese and U.S. governments decided that the Futenma base should be relocated to an offshore location in the outer bay of Henoko Aurawan in Japanese, often called Henoko Bay in Nago, a relatively less populated area of the northern part of the island. This was and remains a controversial decision, since the projected site involved construction on a coral reef and seagrass beds inhabited by the dugong, an endangered marine mammal protected under Japanese law and U.S. law. The environmental impact extends beyond the coral reef and seagrass beds, with there expected to be waste dumping, the disruption of fisheries, and an overall decrease in biological diversity. In October 2015, the Japan Times mentioned that two members of a governmental panel monitoring the environmental impact of the Futenma base relocation within Okinawa Prefecture had admitted to accepting donations from contractors involved. In a non-binding referendum conducted in December 1997, the majority of Nago residents voted against the Henoko relocation plan. However, a few days later, on December 24, Nago Mayor Tetsuya Higa ignored the referendum results and accepted the relocation plan, resigned, and moved to Tokyo. The next year, Tateo Kishimoto was elected mayor of Nago and tried to find compromises regarding the relocation. So did his successor Yasukazu Shimabukuro, at a time when the prefecture governor, Masahide Ota, was opposed to the Henoko relocation. The next mayor, too, Suzumu Inamine, was opposed to it, and he was elected twice, with a high margin on an anti-base agenda. Camp Schwab Plan 2005-2006. On 26 October 2005, the governments of the United States and Japan agreed to move the relocation site for Futenma from the reef area off Henoko to the interior and coastal portions of the existing marine base at Camp Schwab, just a few hundred meters away from the previously planned offshore facility. One of the cited reasons for the change was to reduce the engineering challenge associated with building a runway on reefs in deep water. Experts estimate that rather than the 15-plus years required to construct a new airbase at the previous reef location, the Camp Schwab plan will enable Futenma to be relocated sooner. These plans were also accelerated when a CH-53 DC Stallion transport helicopter experienced mechanical issues and crashed on the campus of Okinawa International University in August 2000. All 3 crew members were injured, but there were no civilian injuries. The mayor of Nago, which hosts Camp Schwab, formally agreed to accept the relocation when he signed an agreement with Defense Minister Nukaga on 8 April 2006. Mayor Shimabukuro was later joined by all 5 of the major mayors of northern Okinawa. Although some all-Okinawa public opinion polls indicated that majority of Okinawans wish the base moved out of the prefecture entirely, all 12 elected mayors of northern Okinawa publicly accepted the new relocation plan, exposing a range of conflicting opinions among Okinawans, those who maintain that military facilities and associated public works. The relocation plans again gained national attention in 2009 when the Democratic Party of Japan included a promise to move Futenma off the island in its manifesto. After winning the election, Prime Minister Yukio Hatoyama found the promise hard to honor and resigned after only 8 months in office when it was confirmed that the base would not move off Okinawa. At one point in 2009, Osaka Prefecture Governor Toru Hashimoto even publicly proposed moving the base's functions to Osaka's Kansai International Airport, which is on an artificial island, remarking that the burden of bases on Okinawa should be spread more evenly throughout Japan. Suzumu Inamine, the mayor of Nago City, elected on 24. The local assembly of Nago voted against the relocation plan, and the Prefectural Assembly of Okinawa also formally asked the Prime Minister to move the base out of the prefecture. On 17 May 2010, the anniversary of the reversion of Okinawa to Japan, an estimated 17,000 Okinawans encircled the base in protest. This was the 5th time such an action took place. Guam and Okinawa Plan 2011-2012. Okinawa Consolidation Plan 2013-2015. Recent development. The Japanese central government began work on October 29, 2015 to build the base in the Henoko coastal area of Nago to replace the Futenma Air Station, despite strong opposition among Okinawans and political and legal action initiated by Governor Takeshi Onaga, who insisted the relocation was extremely unjust. In November 2014, Takeshi Onaga, who had run for election on an anti-base platform, was elected governor of Okinawa. His predecessor and main opponent in the gubernatorial race, Hirokazu Nakema, had previously opposed the relocation plans himself too, but 11 months before the 2014 election, Nakema approved a landfill permit allowing the relocation plans to progress 2 days after Tokyo earmarked 348 billion yen for Okinawa's economic plan. On July 15, 2015's daily press briefing at the White House, U.S. Navy Admiral John Kirby said in regards to opposition, construction of the facility is the meaningful result of many years of sustained work between the United States and Japan, and our understanding is that construction's going to continue. This is something we've talked at length about with the latter, whose October 2015 single is a charity work in favor of the Henoko Fund, is a critic of the national security legislation enacted in September 2015 and said the issue of the heavy U.S. military presence on Okinawa and the contentious security laws share the same root. In November 2015, George Washington Greenpeace too gathered signatures of people from 164 countries in a call for the relocation to be stopped and the coral reef and dugong habitat preserved. In November 2015, the Asahi Shimbun called Japanese government agenda on the matter an obsession. Japanese officials in the ruling and opposition parties had in the past suggested Kyushu and Hokkaido as alternatives to Henoko. In November 2015, a group of traditionally anti-base activist citizens from Kansai called for Futenma's replacement airstrip to be built in Osaka in hope to lighten Okinawa's base hosting burden and prevent an escalation of violence. In December 2015, a group of 70 American personalities, including the filmmaker Oliver. In June 2016, massive protests took place after the rape and murder of an Okinawan woman by an American base staff member. The incidents seem certain to complicate efforts to relocate a Marine Air Base at Okinawa to a less densely populated part of the island. Onaga and a majority of Okinawa residents want the base moved. On 14 December 2018, landfill on a controversial new U.S. military runway that will one day facilitate the relocation and closure of Marine Corps Air Station Futenma began in Okinawa following years of protests and legal challenges. Okinawa Gov. Denny Tamaki showed his resolve to counter Tokyo's efforts to press ahead with a controversial U.S. military base relocation project in the prefecture. It was intolerable that the Japanese government started dumping soil into the landfill off the Henoko coastal district in Nago, Okinawa Prefecture, as part of the relocation project. It's an outrage committed by the state.